What's up, guys? We got to talk about the shadow in the room, boys. And I'm not talking about all the shadows that are in here because of all this damn lighting. I'm talking about Dark Knight. and I know a lot of you all really enjoyed like my Gunbreaker POVs and whatnot, but moving forward, I think I'm going to lean more towards Dark Knight. And there's actually going to be a couple of reasons for this. So, the first thing for me is I just find its damaging abilities a little bit more engaging compared to Gunbreaker. Like the whole 1 minute no mercy window thing, it was cool for a little while, but then you sort of run into issues at certain points. Like if you have to move a boss ever, you're kind of screwed in that regard because you're just so busy with OGCDs that sort of trying to stutter step in order to move a boss is near impossible. So your co-tank has to do it if a movement mechanic happens during a no mercy window. Another big thing was just that outside of that 1 minute no mercy window, I just felt bored. I was really just sort of ramping up abilities to get ready for the next No Mercy window and being like, oh, I hope nothing happens that's going to like screw this one up, right? And if you are early prog on something like Phoenix ads, we, obviously aren't like 100th percentile players by any means. Like we can get blues and purples, but there were some points where we wouldn't make enough damage in order to kill things like Phoenix ads. So I would end up wasting something like a double down just in order to do a massive amount of damage to both those ads and then just knock them out of the park. But in doing so, that then throws off my damage for like the rest of the fight. So in order to make one part of the fight work, it then screws me for the rest of the game. And I didn't really enjoy that. I would much rather be on something like Dark Knight where it can be just as busy, but the detriment in missing like that tight window isn't as bad. So, if we're on Phoenix ads and I'm like, I need just a little bit more, I can easily throw like a Shadowbringer and just be like, all right, well, that'll be like off, but like, it's not like I have to throw it within a no mercy window. I still have my 10% buff permanently. So it's not like super bad. I'm just sort of missing out on like raid buffs. Now, the other big thing was tank cooldowns. I find them a lot more engaging and interesting as far as choices on the Dark Knight versus Heart of Corundum spam, basically. I mean, that's pretty much all you need on Gunbreaker, and you just live through everything, it seems like. So, with that being said, I really enjoy having TBN, which I know there's a lot of people that will either say it's amazing, and there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, TBN is kind of trash. But if you really look at things, if you have an Oblation plus a TBN, which TBN's what, like a 15 or 10-second cooldown, something like that, you can pretty much just throw those two abilities and they're better than Heart of Corundum. Now, obviously, you are stacking cooldowns, but that's the thing, is most other tanks pretty much just have damage mitigation percentages to where Dark Knight has an absorb. And there's a very distinct thing you need to know about that, because an absorb will stack with a mitigation, but if you're stacking two mitigations, you're getting a damage or a diminishing return on it. So throwing two 20s does not equal a 40%, right? It equals like a 36 or something. So that being said, I think that there's a lot of utility and power behind Dark Knight's options. And while Darkmind kind of took me a little while to get used to it and figure out where all I could use it, having logs will definitely help you in that regard. I mean, like if I pull up damage taken on a boss, if you do a poll and you just look at something like this, like they separate it out by colors for you. So orange is going to be your physical, which Darkmind will not work for, and blue is going to be magical, right? So basically auto attacks, can't really Darkmind those. The Warder's Wrath AoE or taking the flail to the face on like first boss. All of those are going to be physical, but everything else in the game you can mitigate through using your Darkmind, which I think is really good. I think that Dark Knight has a very, very high potential to become insane, especially with this 6.1 change. And while the full details aren't really revealed right now, it just says like significant healing during Living Dead or whatever. I still think that that's going to probably bring us to at least half of our health pool, which will definitely help the other healer classes if you're not a white mage in order to pick us back up. And because of that, us still having the second shortest tank cooldown in the game on a Dark Knight could mean that we become way stronger than even we already are now, which, I mean, I don't know. I think Dark Knight is really, really good. It definitely takes some adjustment compared to just a normal sort of tank class, but I definitely think it's something that if you've been curious about, you should try it. And I think the damage rotation was very easy for me to adjust to, but the biggest thing is definitely going to be getting sort of your when to throw mitigations. I mean, stuff like Phoenix, for example, if you're off tanking and you have like the 3 bird things that hit you every 3 seconds, or 4 of them, I think. Yeah, it's 4 hits every like 3 seconds. That damage adds up. And if you're taking like a tank tether at that same time, you're not going to want to be like, oh, well, here's tank tether. Let me just throw TBN and another cooldown, because that whole time, like, you're being pelted and it's just eating your shield away. So you pretty much have to wait for like cast bars to go near the end and then TBN in order to get like the full value out of it. And there's going to be a lot of times too where you're probably going to go in and you might stack something too much, or if a healer shields you, that shield gets eaten first before your TBN. So you may run into some issues where maybe it just doesn't pop for you, giving you that extra sort of edge of shadow in order to do more damage. But again, all of this will just come in time. And I think that it's just something that, like, going forward, I'm definitely going to enjoy. And, I mean, as far as me calling out tank cooldowns on videos, guys, if you're Gunbreaker, Heart of Corundum, everything Heart of Corundum. So I'll probably be calling out a lot of personal stuff for the Dark Knight in the future, especially maybe like when exactly to use stuff like TBN and whatnot on my videos. But overall, as far as raid cooldowns, I mean, Dark Missionary, it's the exact same as what is it, Heart of Light. So not really a huge, trade-off right there in that regard. And a lot of end game stuff as far as damage, I do see a lot of groups doing Gunbreaker Dark Knight combos, meaning that your Dark Knight is probably main tanking a lot of that stuff, and your Gunbreaker needs to sort of focus on No Mercy window. We personally run Dark Knight Warrior, but again, this was just kind of something that I felt I wanted to change for in the patch. So I've kind of made the swap, been working on changing over a few gems and whatnot, making everything fit the way I need to, and I've actually really been enjoying the gameplay of it. So that's kind of my rant on why I am making the switch to Dark Knight, guys. And maybe some of you guys have recently switched off of your Gunbreakers too, or it's possible that you figured out something that really works and makes your No Mercy windows really easy for your group. But I just always kind of had like a issue, I guess. I mean, I guess I could have just turned off probably tank stance for a lot of stuff until it was you needed a secondary target on threat, but just not being able to fully like greed in certain scenarios was kind of feels bad for the most part. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you've made a tank swap change recently and why you did that, and I'll see you all in the next video.